Okay, we must be right then.
Yep. Again.
Gosh, like, okay. I feel like this whole day is just record. Because, I mean, they're just amazing stories. And I don't know how you, as one person, have lived through what you've lived through. And I know we've titled it Family in Crisis, like far out. How much can one woman take?
Well, I'm still here.
Yeah, I know, you just... So let's just move into the next segment.
Okay.
All right, so... And I know a lot of you will be saying out there, you know, this poor woman. Yeah, this poor woman, all right. So we're going to talk about now your daughter.
Yeah.
So, Miss L.
Did you not see the black cloud over the house when you arrived?
Yeah, well, you know, like, it's about the fact that other people are going to watch this and think that, here, you see, you still make a joke of it. You still got a positive attitude and you still want to go on. You still want to fight the courts to make things different.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
you know, you're not going to sit down and take this shit from anybody.
Way. Absolutely not.
And we're going to go on to, like, part 3 now. And this is about Miss L. And far out, I don't even know where to begin. Like, where do you start? Okay, so let's look at your daughter. Yep. So we'll refer to as daughter.
Yep.
An ex-female partner.
That's correct.
An ex-male partner.
Yes.
So your daughter met someone, like he was around and, you know, when they were young and growing up.
Yep.
And she spent a time with him, a night with him and whatever, and produced a beautiful son.
Yeah, my grandson.
Your little grandson.
Yeah.
And there was also another person in the picture at this time.
A third person.
A third person.
Yeah.
Female.
Yeah.
And was relentless at wanting your daughter.
Relentless is an understatement.
Yeah. Female.
Female, yeah.
Female.
A few years older.
And your daughter had never had a relationship
No.
with a female. Like, what happened with the father of her son.
Yep.
So, now, he had gone to jail.
Yeah, he went to jail. Yeah.
For...
he was a driver in a robbery. Driver of a vehicle in a robbery. He went to jail when he was 17.
For how long?
He got quite... He was a person, his family were a family of crime, unfortunately, and he was just brought up in that
environment.
In that mentality. He's a beautiful boy, lovely, and still is to this day, a beautiful boy. But just never knew anything better. His father was in and out of jail. His mother's got drug problems. Not all of his brothers, but majority of the family were in and out of jail sort of people. And that was just what he knew. He didn't know anything else but that sort of lifestyle, unfortunately. Even as a little boy, he was sort of, because we knew him as a little boy as well. I think he used to come around our house when he was about 11ish. And so my daughter's always been a person who likes the broken wing, care for people, I suppose, just runs in the family. And they sort of got quite friendly, and because she had brothers, the brothers were always,
protective,
very protective, and she was never really allowed to have relationships as such, just because they were so protective of her. Anyway, then this fellow just, was very kind to her and all the rest of it, and anyway, she ended up having my grandson, and then he went to prison as soon as, basically, it was the week that my daughter found out she was pregnant. He was taken to prison. So, where he was for 7 years.
So you said while he was in prison, he developed schizophrenia.
He developed schizophrenia, that's correct.
From the isolation?
Yeah, he spent, I can't even tell you how many days, and I think it equated to months in isolation during that period he was incarcerated. He developed schizophrenia. We sort of was aware that something was wrong with him when he used to ring up towards the end of his time in prison, just before his release. However, he had to stay in prison and do his whole entire time in prison. So he was released with no parole period. He did right to the very day. And when he came out, my daughter and him, my grandson had never met him because...
that was his dad.
That was his dad. Because my daughter, although my grandson knew that we'd always sort of told my grandson that his father was away at work, and because he just didn't need all those worries. So when he got out of prison, they came down here. I had my grandson here, and my daughter picked him up when he got released, and they came here after a couple of days of being by themselves, and they came down here, and immediately I knew something wasn't right. And I said to my daughter, there's something not right with this person. I said, look, he needs help. He needs to help. And she said, Mum, he's been released. There's no paperwork to say there's anything wrong with him or what have you. And I just had this feeling. Anyway, as it went on, they were here for a week, and then they went back up to Newcastle. And then his symptoms became more apparent, and my daughter said, yes, that's right, there's something wrong, Mum. So he
was not medicated?
No, he was released with no medication, no follow-up, no alert to that there was something maybe wrong with him. Although,
was he being treated in prison?
Yes.
With schizophrenia?
Yes, he'd been being treated for schizophrenia.
So he's come out with no medication, no doctor's appointments, nothing?
No, nothing at all.
Wow.
This is how they failed. This is what corrective services do.
Yeah.
As I said, my son fell through every gap as well, because there's no supports in place for these people to win. They're set up to fail. So this young man, he was in a psychosis within a few weeks. He was in a psychosis, and I travelled to Newcastle to try and help support her, and we tried to get appointments with mental health. She even alerted the police, which was very difficult for her because, we didn't want to get him in trouble, but we could see that
there was something wrong.
Yeah, and he was his behaviours were incorrect. He was doing things that weren't correct, and which were criminal in their way as such. And so my daughter was alerted the police and said, look, he something's going to happen here. Something bad's going to happen here. She was actually interviewed by Current Affair at one point, and she said, they blacked out his face because, we just didn't know what to do because nobody seemed to want to help. Anyways, he ended up, he was that young man who was on the roof at Tyres Hill in that 17-hour siege, and they said that he was on drugs, which is a total and utter lie. He was not on drugs at all. He was in a psychosis. But he'd gone on a crime spree. Well, it wasn't actually a crime spree where anyone was going to benefit from anything. It was just stupid things, carjackings and driving and stealing
because
cars.
He was in psychosis?
He was in psychosis. And I'm not making any excuses for the behaviour that he did or anybody he may have hurt or did anything to anybody along the way.
But had he have been medicated?
But what I'm saying, that's correct. But what
he's fallen through the crack.
That's exactly correct. That's my point, exactly. So I hope I'm not offending any of your viewers who may have been relatives or what have you, because that's not my intention at all. But I want people to understand that there's a lack of communication between the corrective services and the outside world, is what I call it. And he was one of those people, and needless to say, now he's back in prison now for another 13 years. 13
years.
So his whole entire life will be spent in prison. But more concerning to me is that my grandson's been robbed of his father, and my daughter's been robbed of her son's father, and that man has been robbed of his child. And he's just such, now that he's back in prison, and back on medication, he's the beautiful young man that he was,
that he should have been when he came out.
Exactly my point. Yes, that's right.
Wow, so your daughters had to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can honestly say I've known this young woman all her life.
Yeah.
And I can say to you, she is the most beautiful young woman.
She's gorgeous.
She's never done anything wrong in her life. She's just the perfect mum, perfect role model. But unfortunately, the young, the woman that was trying, hassling her, and was relentless at getting it. She just wanted it, right?
There was another. That's right. There was a third party person, a female, who, whilst this young man was in prison, my daughter ended up having a relationship with this girl who's...
So first lesbian relationship.
Yeah, first lesbian relationship. And this woman's quite a few years older than my daughter, so is very, a bit wiser, a lot more worldly, and a lot more, I want to use the word manipulative.
Yeah, you can.
Because that's the only word I can sort of say. And as a parent, I tried to, put old head on young shoulders. And of course, your kids don't want to listen to you, and you can see things that they can't. But anyway, she proceeded to have a relationship with this girl, and during that relationship, they fostered a young girl who came to them, basically an Aboriginal young girl, as we're identifiers, who came to her basically within the first few days she was born. And my daughter was the main caregiver, and the little girl calls her mum, and she's known to our family as my granddaughter, and we love her as my granddaughter, and there's no discrimination amongst all the grandchildren. And when I said previously I have 5 grandchildren, because she's one of the 5, and she's had her for 7 years until recently.
So she's spent 7 years with your daughter.
Yeah.
She's a prime caregiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Legally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, legal foster parent, yes.
Legal foster parent.
Yeah.
And then up until a couple of months ago,
yeah.
Tell us what happened.
Oh, okay, a couple of months, about over 12 months ago, my daughter, who had been trying many, many times to end the relationship with this other female, and just tried relentlessly to get away from her. She just couldn't get away from her, couldn't end the relationship. It was domestic violence. My daughter was getting hurt in the relationship, physically, mentally and emotionally. She hid a lot of things from me. She didn't want to tell me a lot of things, and even though I knew, I'd seen bruises, I'd seen furniture get smashed up, I'd seen a decline in my daughter's, just her spark had gone out, would be what I want to say.
And this person too, I believe, tried to kidnap her son too, didn't
tried
she?
to kidnap my grandson, and if it hadn't been for one of my other sons being there, just pulling up out the front of the house and stopping that from happening. She was getting her in the car. My daughter's only 4'9", and this girl's a boxer. She's a licensed boxer, or whatever you call it. Yeah, she's had title fights. And so, he stopped that from happening. On another occasion, this girl physically assaulted me, punched me in the face, and was charged with the offence, and was on a apprehended violence order against, for what she'd done to me in a car park at McDonald's. It was witnessed by at least minimum of 15 people, whilst I had my grandchildren in the car. She drove with the children in the car without a licence. She's just done so many things. She's got that many charges and different things, not even just with our family, with other families, other young girls that she's got problems with, who have got apprehended violence orders against her.
So they other women that she's had relationships with?
Yeah, other women that she's had relationships with. So finally my daughter gets away from her, and she's trying to live her own life and all the rest of it, and this woman then realises that she's not going to be able to get my daughter back and have a relationship with her, but she basically said, and has stated many times, that she was going to make my daughter's life a hell. She wasn't going to stop. She said, I will not stop until you're in a mental institution, So once she couldn't get through with my daughter, and she, because we all banded together as a family to give her support and be there for her and what have you, my daughter's had to flee to here many occasions and what have you. Even domestic violence, people have put, the crim safe screens on rental properties that she's had, and she's had to wear an alert around her, domestic violence alert, and they've moved her to safe houses. I mean, she's just been through absolute hell with these 2 little children. So in the last couple of months, this girl decided, she even went and had a baby to somebody who's related to my grandson, just to try and she's a lesbian, and still remains a lesbian, but went and did that just to try and have that tie with our family. So she's had herself and friends ring up the hotline continuously, the children's safety line, saying with stories as long as the fact that my grandson is on drugs, and that my daughter supplies the drugs to him.
And how old is he?
He's 9. That my daughter doesn't care for the children, that she doesn't feed them, that they're neglected, that they're abused, that they're sexually assaulted. Look, you name it, she's rang up and said these things and had other people ring up and say them. And so just about 2 months ago, my daughter took my granddaughter to school, and at 3 o'clock that day, I feel like such a crybaby. I get a phone call where I couldn't even comprehend that it was even my daughter on the other end of the phone, except that it was her phone number, screaming like somebody had been murdered, while the Aboriginal Corporation and docs were at her door telling her that, the Aboriginal docs people were at the door saying that they had removed my granddaughter from school and she was no longer going to be in my daughter's care. So my daughter had her heart ripped out that day. She's never been the same since. We've tried everything. My daughter only gets 1 hour supervised visit per week. I get 15-minute phone call once a week after that supervised visit. I haven't had her.
Where is she though? Like where?
Well, they removed her from my daughter and put her into this girl's care. This girl and her mother's care.
The girl that's got all the apprehension
Yes.
violence orders out on her.
Yes. Yep.
And she's got a history of drug use, hasn't she?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And she's failed a working with children's check because of the assault charges and so forth. And she's allowed to have the child because she lives with her mother. So, yeah.
But she's not the natural birth mother.
No, both of them. And neither one of them are related to the child, except for the fact that their kinship carers being Aboriginal. They are not blood related to the child in any way, shape or form. And even Lainey, who you interviewed, she is her daughter's children are the blood relatives of this young girl, because they're both the fathers of the children are brothers, and not one of us were even alerted to the fact of who would be a viable carer, and neither Lainey's daughter or anybody in that family was alerted to apply for care of the young girl. She was just immediately taken to a care house to somebody else who is a relative of these people, cousin of these people, and then the whole thing was geared. She was always going to these people, to the ex-girlfriend and her mother. It's obvious that that's where she was going to go now, and my daughter's been through an internal review, and plus she's been through the Ombudsman's review of the case, and the Ombudsman found that all of the claims and all of the things that had been said against her were not true, and my daughter's signature has even been forged on paperwork by this Aboriginal corporation. And so we've got a solicitor again. My daughter's had to apply for legal aid, and these things take a long time to get into the courts. My little granddaughter says all the time, when she's on the phone to me or when she's having the visitation 1 hour per week, as if my daughter's some sort of monster. When am I coming home, Mum? It's just, and how they say this is in line with duty of care to that child I just can't get my head around it, Kelly. I don't understand how people get away with this. I don't understand how corporations get away with this, But they've even overruled the Ombudsman.
And how can they do that?
Well, we don't know. We don't understand it. The Ombudsman doesn't understand it. The internal review people don't understand it. It's beyond. All we keep getting told, and all the emails, the lies. Like, I get emails every Friday. I have to send an email to say that I'm okay, that I'm going to be ready for the phone call, the 15-minute phone call on Monday. And because it's on a Monday, so if a public holiday happens, or it was the Easter break or whatever, you just miss out on that time. My daughter just doesn't get a visit, and she doesn't get a catch-up visit or anything like that. When I've asked in email, why am I not being offered a catch-up visit, or why is my daughter not getting this, or whatever, and why am I not getting a phone call, I get this, okay, well next week they were having a, where a stock take or whatever you call it, right? The corporation, and they said, oh, due to this, you won't be able getting your phone call. And I said, well, what's you known? And that was on the day. They said,
it's got to do with...
That's what I said. I said, what's
your
that?
entitlement.
Exactly. And my granddaughter's entitlement to speak and maintain her friendship and her relationship with her brother and with her grandmother and with her mother, and extended family members, how is this in line with keeping with her? How is this making this a good thing for her? I said, it's just like the stolen generation all over again. That's how it feels to us. And their attitude, like even last week, she's not feeling well. She's been off school with a virus, so you won't be getting your phone call. Yet I got a phone call from her at the shopping centre asking me what football team does her brother follow, because she was getting a present. And when I broached this with the corporation, I'm still waiting for an email back. I said, well, if she's sick and ill with a virus and she can't have a phone call with me, how come she's ringing me from a shopping centre and she's not at school? Like, how's this work? So my daughter's life has been changed. She will never be the same person again, Kelly. The sound that I heard that day down that phone is something I will take with me to the grave. It is I can't even describe my daughter's screams. Just the emotion. It was, like I said, it was like somebody had just died. One of her children had died in front of her, but in fact it was her who had died that moment. And it was just awful. And she's a strong young girl, a strong young woman. She's doing everything in her power to get justice for herself and for her son and for her daughter. And every door there's a new opening. There's another excuse. There's another reason. There's another why. And how they can take her from a beautiful, loving home again and put them with a family or with a person who has a rap sheet as long as what she does is beyond me. I don't understand it. I don't understand how it works.
So she is with this woman who, like you said, has a huge rap sheet.
That's right.
And yet they feel, the Aboriginal organisation, feel that she is safer with this person.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, and she's failed at working with children's check. She can't get it because of the assault charges and what have you. And
your daughter has a children's check.
Absolutely.
And hers is passed.
Absolutely.
With flying colours.
That's right. And I have a federal working with children's check because of my job, as you would know, with being a youth worker. And they won't even let me have access to her, overnight access with her.
So who is controlling the situation?
The Aboriginal Corporation in Newcastle, yes. Who are, mind you, all relatives, or majority are relatives of this woman. That's correct.
Well, isn't that a coincidence?
It's more than a coincidence. It's a conspiracy. I believe.
And she's doing all this to hurt your daughter, I feel.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all just about getting at my daughter. And
can anyone help us? Anyone watching this show, can anyone help us with this situation? Like, I am asking, does anyone know anybody that could help Alana out with this situation? Just comment, just, let us know, send me an email, ring me. I don't care if you know someone or whatever. Just let me know. Let me know what's happening. Because I'm just disgusted. I'm just totally, I can't believe it. I'm just thinking, how does this happen? It's bloody disgusting.
It is, and my daughter's tried, even trying to just get a solicitor who is who's educated in these types of things is proving difficult. It's in Newcastle. I don't know where she's on a waiting list of the free solicitors to see. And every time she speaks to someone, they go. She's even been onto Vocal, who they can't believe it. Yet they're not people who can help you with the
Victims of Crime Assistance League.
Yeah, that's correct. Because because my daughter's also been part of the. I can't think who they are. Obviously, my mind's a bit overwhelmed this evening because of all the things we've talked about. But they're a group for the domestic violence people in Newcastle. And they've said to her, look, because she was involved with another group prior to this, who actually, like I said, they put the screens on the house. They put that she had walked around with the alert. That's how frightened and how much this woman terrorised her, and all of us for that matter. I mean,
and you're not the only family that's happened to.
No, absolutely not.
And how come she's got your granddaughter?
You tell me. I do not know. I have no idea.
Latika, your daughter has had your granddaughter.
Yep.
From newborn.
Basically a couple of days old.
Couple of days old until she was how old?
7.5.
7.5.
Yep.
So from newborn to 7.5.
Every single day of her life.
And I know this young woman. I'm like saying to you, never goes out. It's just wants to be a mummy 24/7.
Absolutely.
Doesn't do anything. Doesn't go anywhere. Just is totally with her children the whole
That's exactly
time.
Right. Doesn't even drink alcohol.
No, she's just
nothing.
No.
She has a couple of drinks. She's an epileptic herself.
Yeah.
She's very health conscious. And she's a great mum. It's just.
It's
disgusting.
heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's just so wrong.
That's exactly right. And one of the other Aboriginal elders who's been on board, she's been with my daughter through this whole entire journey, and she's actually related to this other girl, and she has totally cut ties, has walked away because she said, I cannot condone this. I can't be a part. I can't. That's right. I can't be a part of this.
Well, what's the next step for you guys? Like what?
Oh well, I don't know.
What can happen?
Well, we just got to wait till we can find.
What? Never to get your granddaughter back?
Well, I don't know. Well, she's going to fight tooth and nail to get her. I think that. Look, I said to my daughter at one stage, walk away, because I'm worried for my daughter. Like it's a lot. And it's affected her health, and she's my baby. So, and my grandson, it's affected him. He won't go to school because he's frightened they're going to come and take him. So it's had a full domino effect. It's gone through the whole family, because we've all been hurt by this as well. And I look at my daughter and I just see how much she's aged, and she's a beautiful young woman. And I don't think she can fight a whole corporation. I don't think one person and one little family like us can fight a whole corporation. And I've said to her, as much as I didn't want to say it, but maybe you just need to walk away. And she said, Mum, I can't walk away on my child. And I get that. And I didn't mean for her to walk away, but I was just worried for her.
Yeah, you were more concerned for your daughter.
That's right.
Whereas she's concerned for her own daughter.
Exactly. And
like you say, it's your little grandson as well. He's grown up with his little sister.
That's exactly right.
And now he's not wanting to go to school because
that's right.
He's frightened they're going to come and get him.
That's exactly right.
And take him away.
That's right. So he's under a psychologist and he's on medication now.
He's on medication.
He's on medication.
At 9.
At 9. Yes, because all of this has just affected him so much. He's frightened that his mum's going to go away. He's got this abandonment thing, he doesn't want to be by himself. He can't let my daughter out of his sight. He won't go to school. She actually physically goes to school with him and sits with him in the classroom just to reassure him that nobody's going to come and take him. And this is a fair dinkum thing that is going on, So it's just gone from one extreme. It's gone from this beautiful, happy little home, and all of this is happening because of this one person who just didn't like that my daughter was trying to walk away from a domestic violence situation, and because she couldn't get to my daughter, then decided that she would use the children. And she's even tried to have my grandson taken as well, and docs have come, and the normal docs have come as well, to take my grandson away, and they wanted to drug test my grandson because
at 9
because they have said that my daughter gives him drugs and that he's on drugs, which is just ludicrous in every way, shape and form. And all of those, of course, let me just say to the viewers that all of those issues have been dispelled now. That nobody believes that now, and docs don't believe that.
and they've got the proof. They've backed it up.
Exactly.
They've done everything that, and they're saying, you know, it is not on.
That's exactly right. That's right.
So what? Oh my gosh. Far out. Like, what do you do for yourself to get away, like to love yourself a little bit and to give time for you? And
I've got you, darling. I ring you.
Your name.
Yeah, no, I'm really fortunate. I've got some really good friends like yourself. And like, you know, and in saying that, a lot of friends do walk away because, you know, it's too hard for them, and or you just don't have anything good to talk about. So I understand that. I get that. You know, it's not for the faint-hearted, and there is a black cloud over us for some reason. I have no idea why, but obviously for whatever reason, you know, it's making us stronger people, and just knowing that, you know, especially for, I think, look, even my sister being so sick, it's given me a focus, and she tells me how much she appreciates me, and that's so nice. You know, it's so nice to feel appreciated and loved, and like, you know, as much as today was a good day for her, she has some very bad days, you know, but we share a laugh and a yarn, and you know, it's pretty good. And like I said, I've got you, so I ring you. And yeah, that's what I do mainly. Just, you know, talk to my friends and that do want to listen. And I always remind myself that, you know, look, there's far worse situations out there. There's people in far worse situations than my own. And but in saying that, if they need me, I'm always there too. Like, you know, I've got friends around here that I go and help. I cook meals for and stuff because they're going through hard times. And yeah, that's just how it is.
So, gosh, I don't even know which direction to focus on, because I'm just thinking about all the stuff that's going on for you. So, I'm just absolutely blown away by your granddaughter and how she's been taken.
It's disgusting and it's terrible. And I feel that there will be some resolution for that, because people will be answerable, and people will have to be answerable. Because I know my daughter, as you do. You've known her entire life since before she was even born, because we've been friends longer than that. And you know the calibre of person she is, and I'm positive that the truth will come out. And I'm praying that my granddaughter will be returned to my daughter's home, and if not, that my daughter at least is given, you know, more access to her, and that they, you know, the more freedom to, instead of this 1 hour visit that is supervised. I mean, how ridiculous is that? It's absolutely insane.
I just think if everybody, you know, the fact that she's been cleared and everything's okay, it's just this one organisation.
Yes, that's correct.
That happened to be linked to this particular person.
That's right.
So what the beep and hell is going on?
I don't know.
Someone needs to investigate this whole situation.
Yeah.
It is just so frigging wrong.
They really do. Somebody does need to do it.
And we need some help on this. Like, whoever you are out there, if you can help, you know, please contact us. Like, please, please, please contact us. It's just ridiculous. And what... Oh, far out. Can I ask you for a message of hope? Like, how do I ask you for a message of hope in that? Like, I should be giving you, and you know what?
Love one another, and don't tell lies, because
they'll catch up.
Lies are just no good, and they wreck people's lives, and nothing good ever comes from lying.
No.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. It will haunt you. It will haunt who you're lying about. And nothing good will come of it ever. If you've got a dispute with somebody, or if somebody doesn't want you, or whatever, just walk away gracefully.
Yeah.
Honestly, just walk away gracefully.
And I think, you know what, like, instead of me, like, and I asked for that message of hope, I'm going to give you the message of hope.
Thanks, darling.
Okay. So, my message of hope is that you're just the most amazing woman, and your stamina, like, I don't know how you put up with what you put up with. I don't know how you get out of bed every day and still want to get up and help, and like you say, you're still helping people around here that are in strife, and cooking meals and helping them out. You've got your sister who's dying here, and you know, we've been saying goodbye to her today. Well, I have.
I know.
And you know, and then we're talking about, you know, your grandchildren and the loss of your granddaughter and what your daughter's going through and what your son's just been through.
Yes.
And, you know, my message to you is like, and I just think it's such cliche for me to say don't give up. Like, but you never ever give up. Like, that's one thing I'll say about you. You never give up. You just get this little burst of energy, and I don't know where in the hell it comes from, but I wish we all could have a little piece of it at some stage in our lives. But, you know, I just want you to know you're the most awesome,
Thank you.
beautiful, hearted, gorgeous soul, and that even though there might be that big dark cloud above you, as you say right now, you know, a big windstorm's going to come and blow the bastard away, I'm telling you. Like, excuse me for swearing, everyone, but, you know, like, life is going to be good.
Yeah, thanks. I've got
You
friends
know?
in high places up there.
Yeah.
My brother's up there. I've got relos up there. I'm sure they're helping me.
Yeah, they will. And I know a lot of the Aboriginal elders will get behind you too in this.
Yeah.
You know, like, that just goes without saying. And a lot of good people are backing you.
Yeah, thank you.
You know,
Thanks,
so, you know, don't give up, darling.
Yeah, thanks, darling. Give me a hug.
Send-
Oh, thanks very much. Thanks for sharing your program with me and getting
Thanks
some of
for
these
sharing-
messages out.
Oh,
I
look.
appreciate it so much.
You know, don't give up, everybody. You know, like I'm saying. Oh, here we go. Oh, Georgie Ann Hutchinson, thank you. Belinda Dooner, thank you, beautiful girl. Kerry Lee, thanks, darling. Natalie Hewitt, thanks, Natalie Hewitt. Now, Natalie's going to be on in the next couple of weeks.
I'll be
and
watching.
it's a really bloody heart-wrenching situation too, Natalie. And I'm so blessed that you're coming on my show to give, you know, your story with mental health and young men. And thank you, Jan Brown. And thank you, Yasmin Harmon. And Colleen Dandelion, like, thank you, beautiful girl. And Lauren S. Thank you so much, Lauren. You've been wonderful, you know, booking in every week and watching the show. Louise Melrose Hanley, thank you. Sharon Sharp, good on you, Sharon Sharp. And Tulia Palozzi, thank you, Tulia. Like, bless you, darling. And thank you. Okay, we've got lots of help.
Helpful.
Oh, very helpful. Okay, thank you, Colleen. And Sarah Van Dyke, thank you, Sarah. Charlene Murphy, thank you, Charlene. You finally got to watch a show. Phoebe Talbot. Veronica Williams, thank you so much. Amanda Maloney, hey, thank you, Amanda. God love you. And Chris Rourke, thank you all. Thank you, everyone. And obviously, we can't read out all the names and, you know, we'd be here forever kind of thing. So some of our shows are getting 3,500 people. So, you know, we'll just pick out a few names here and there and just, you know, mention them. And gosh, if it wasn't for you guys, you know, I wouldn't be here living my dream. And this is my dream. My dream is to engage these beautiful people that live through, you know, life as it is for them, in the hope that they could share their story and maybe you'll get something from that story. Just one little thing, one little glimpse of hope, and know that you never give up. And, you know, if you're in strife and things are happening in your life and you just don't know what to do, tell a friend, ring Lifeline, get help.
Ring me.
Yeah.
I'll be there for you.
Ring me. Like, you know, contact me. Let me know what's going on in your world. I genuinely care about you. So, you know, it's until my next show, and I think I'm on show, I think this was show 82.
No, that's 83.
83, show 83. So the next show is show 84. We're getting closer and closer to that 100 show. So I'll be here and I'll be talking to you again on Wednesday evening. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in and watching these lovely little series that we've put together today, and I'll be glad to sign off for now. It's been a big day,
It's
you
been a
know.
big day.
We need lots of cuddles and tears now.
We do.
Okay, my darlings, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. And no matter what in life, never give up, and know you're going to be okay. So let's give him the thumbs up. Thank you, everyone.